is a full report concerning the rise and fall of Prophet Dele Ogundipe, the controversies surrounding him, and how he rose to fame, and the fall of the Genesis Church Prophet Dele Ogundipe. Well, let us take it one at a time. Well, before we do that, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell to get notified whenever I drop new content. You guys need to click on that red subscribe button. I really need your help. You guys should please click on that red subscribe button so that you get more updates whenever I drop new content. And of course, if you have any information or any contribution whatsoever, do well to comment, write your suggestion in the comment box below, and of course like the video and share. Thank you. Well, the Genesis Global men threatening Asabe over viral YouTube video. Mr. Gbenga Dan Asabe of Asabe Africa TV took to his Facebook page to expose another phone threat by men of Genesis Global Church. Headed by Israel Oladele Ogundipe, Genesis, please reel the full story. Well, this is how it goes. This afternoon, a caller with the number 081-6690-6999 called threatening me with curses and calamity, etc. over the video I did on Genesis Parish Head, one Israel Oladele Ogundipe and Celestial Church of Christ over his battle with my humble self, another prophet and the Celestial Church of Christ. Now, this caller identified himself as Jeremiah, but his true caller ID reveals Temi Tokpe, aka Akpola Litkaf. 2. He said so many things, asking me how much am I worth for what I am doing. Can you show me your car? Can you show me your house? A lot of young bloggers who started a year ago have already built their own house and own their car. Why are you talking to cheap people? Can't you find people that will elevate you? etc. He claimed I brought things being discussed in privacy into public glare. I don't think there is nothing I did on that video that was never in public glare, including the garrulous acts and misdemeanor of his shepherd, Dele Ogundipe. He said so many things that are being kept for the right time. He indeed did a subtle threat on me and my family, and I am not taking this lightly. Of course, I have forwarded this threat to relevant authorities. I don't know when church or divine calling has been turned into headliner business. Why are people so violent and can't stand truth when being told? Is church a business venture? It was after he dropped his call that the top Pentecostal pastor in Ondo State called my attention to page 4 and 5 of today's Sponge newspaper. What happened? The story of one of Prophet Oladele Ogundipe's worshippers who was crushed by a car with a kid after the infamous December 15, 2019 anniversary where Fuji music star King Wasiu Ayinde Marshal performed on the altar was splashed. Ronke Popola, a trader, and a 2-year-old son were victims of a giddy car accident involving the car of a Genesis Global worshipper which ran over 4 people towards the end of a highly controversial Ikore harvest of December 15. Well, Ronke, whose 2-year-old son died 4 days later, is today begging for blood at El Lut, and equally accused Prophet Ogundipe of abandoning her and others to their fate. Not only Ronke's 2-year-old son died, another 11-year-old boy equally died in the Ilahilo December 15 harvest. According to the victim, many worshippers came for the harvest, and towards the end of the program, a car lost control and rammed into the newly bought 2 hectares extension land provided by the church to accommodate guests who could not find space in the main auditorium. Many were said to have been injured in the Nyokponyori crash that also claimed the life of another 11-year-old boy, Ronke's 2-year-old son, who was also run over by the car, died 4 days after. Ronke was rushed to the Ile-Epo General Hospital, from where she was referred to last week. Although she is said to be getting better, but blood is still said to be gushing out of her private parts at the hospital. Needs money to buy 4 pints of blood and drugs. According to a source, I heard that the church said it could not render any help because Ronke is not a member of the church, but the pastor knows how to give other people who are not members money in front of cameras. Another source called Mama recounted a sordid experience on how the infamous accident happened and how Prophet Ogundipe allegedly denied the owner of the car, who is a member of his church. Also, it will be recalled that it is this same Dele Ogundipe who attended a CCC Oshodi Parish harvest 2 months ago, and as he was moving out of the event, his police orderly allegedly fired a shot that killed a father of 5 children in Shogunle area of Oshodi, Lagos. Till date, that report has been buried. Couple of years back, inside same church, a female spiritualist coming down from 7 days trance got burnt mysteriously, and till date nobody could pinpoint the remains of that report. At another time, sources claimed it was allegedly claimed that a young boy who went there to fix an electrical problem got electrocuted. The Sunday, December 15, 2019, car killing of members is another in the series of dangerous things that is characterizing the parish and its leadership. Finally, now for being objective and being discerning with our information, we have already begin to receive threat calls. They will only win if they can win God. Meanwhile, we are relating to appropriate authorities. Well, this is one of many controversies surrounding Pastor Prophet Dele Ogundipe, the Genesis CCC pastor who got jailed recently because it was allegedly reported that it defrauded a woman of 17 million naira. Well, on another controversial issue surrounding Prophet Dele Ogundipe, well, justice for Shade, who is a victim of Prophet Dele Ogundipe, and he should be banned from the United Kingdom. Well, petition has been written against Prophet Israel Oladele Ogundipe, registered church in the United Kingdom, on 23rd March 2018 to scam Nigerians living in the United Kingdom. Genesis Global Celestial Church of Christ, registered with misleading information. Prophet Israel Oladele Ogundipe is not a habitual resident in the United Kingdom, but claimed the lives in this address: 12 Samuel Drive, Kemsley, Sittingbourne, United Kingdom, ME10 2GB, which was false. Prophet Oladele is a fake prophet based in Lagos, Nigeria, using Nigerian police force to terrorize vulnerable Nigerians. We are calling on the authority to investigate this church that they used to scam British Nigerians living there in the United Kingdom. He is not a licensed pastor. He uses a visitor visa to come here to scam in conjunction with another director on his board, in the person of Oladele Babatunde Samuel, that uses his house address to perpetrate all these scams. She was a paragon of beauty not long ago, but she was a new look which some will consider as scary and frightening. Prophetess Folashade Esther Ogunsheye of the Celestial Church Genesis Model Parish, Agbado, in the midst of the celebration, one of the church workers called Elijah allegedly sprayed perfume known in Celestial parlance as Onola on the dancers while they were lighted candles, which some of them were holding. The perfume caught fire and Shade was set ablaze along with 3 other members who had joined in the celebration. A pastor in the church who had come to rescue them was also affected by the fire. However, Shade was the worst hit as she suffered severe burns and still suffers severe damage as a result. Until this day, she wonders why such a terrible fate would happen to her. She warned them not to celebrate the trance she was in, that she didn't want noise. She asked them to pray for her silently, but they did otherwise. Immediately after the incident, Shade and other victims of the fire were rushed to a private hospital near the church, then taken to the general hospital in Orile Agege the following day for better medical attention, from where they were later discharged. While others have made considerable progress and have since returned to the church, Shade could not because of the severity of her condition. Although she commended the members of the church for taking very good care of her since the incident occurred, she has also sought the support of other well-meaningful Nigerians. Meanwhile, the shepherd in charge of the church, Prophet Ogundipe, absolved himself of any blame in the incident, claiming Sade should be held responsible for her predicament and condemned Sade's general attitude to her situation. When Saturday Tribune suggested the idea of paying for reconstructive surgery to Prophet Ogundipe, he said the church would not foot the bill because the doctors had assured him that the wounds will heal naturally, even though the church is quite capable of paying for her surgery. He has now resorted to threatening Sade and has made threats to take care of her as she has become vocal about her predicament. He has threatened court action to Sade when she is the victim simply because she has been speaking up about how the church abandoned her. He has ordered Sade to appear at the police station for questioning when it is evident that the corruption that goes on in the Nigerian police means that Sade may be tortured and beaten whilst in police custody so as to shut her up. We are therefore urging all citizens to please, sign this petition to demand justice for Sade. Nothing must happen to her, and most importantly, for the Celestial Church to pay for her reconstructive surgery. The pastor has now resorted to threatening anyone who dare speak about it. According to Maureen Badejo of GIOTV, he has threatened me with curses and calamity etc. over the video I did on Genesis Parish Head, Israel Oladele Ogundipe and Celestial Church of Christ over his battle with my humble self. Other platforms have exposed another phone thread by men of Genesis Global Church. Well, I believe I made mention of this to you guys the other time. Well, concerning other controversy, surrounding Pastor Dele Ogundipe, well, it has been reported that bloggers were hired to blackmail Ogundipe of Genesis Global. Let's take a peep through this controversial issue surrounding the Genesis CCC prophet Oladele Ogundipe. Well, investigation by Nigerian Concord, it has revealed how two female bloggers from the United Kingdom and United States, Maureen Badejo and Asabi Sowemimo Shinkolomo, were hired by adversaries of the founder of the Celestial Church of Christ, Genesis Global in Lagos, Prophet Israel Oladele Ogundipe, for campaigns of calumny against the CCC, prophet and philanthropist who has his headquarters in Alakuko in Lagos State. Findings by our investigators indicated that it is the rising profile of Ogundipe, also known as Unstoppable Genesis, as well as his healthy relationship with the family of the founder of the CCC, SBJ Oshofa, that is raising these intrigues about him. According to findings, a top CCC leader, name withheld, teamed up with some other prophets to pay a total sum of 10,000 British pounds to the Barclays bank accounts of Maureen Badejo, who is known for her controversial roles in blackmailing men of God, on her Facebook page on 2 installments. Badejo was contracted to do numerous live videos on her social media pages where she will lay several fake allegations against Prophet Ogundipe and his church, Genesis Global. She was mandated to call the attention of her friends to the live videos so they can post comments to make them look like real accusations. The same CCC leader also paid $13,000 to the TD bank account of Asabi Sowemimo for the same campaign of calumny against Ogundipe. Asabi opened the said account with the TD Bank branch on 24 Winter Street, Boston, MA, in the United States of America in May 2016. Asabi is the prominent blogger whom some forces in the CCC is using in the media in order to perfect their plans to remove the pastor of the church, Reverend EMF Oshofa, and then plant their own stooge as pastor. According to findings, both Asabi and Badejo are to descend heavily on Ogundipe on their social media pages so it can be frustrated out of the CCC fold. Part of the allegations which Maureen and Asabi were mandated to make against Prophet Ogundipe was of his rudeness to the CCC authorities and also that he was nursing the plans to leave the church's body. During our investigations, it was confirmed that the allegations was baseless, as such never happened. We were able to gather from the CCC International Headquarters in Ketu as well as from the EMF Oshofa's homes. both in Ketu and Imeko, Ogun State, that Prophet Ogundipe is a very close friend of the late Oshofa expanded family. Our reports showed that had visited the pastor and supreme head of CCC, Reverend EMF Oshofa, to explain that he never nursed the ambition to leave the CCC body. During his visit, as was gathered during our investigation, Ogundipe described EMF Oshofa as his father and the only recognized pastor of the CCC. He was, however, advised by the CCC pastor not to be too far from the international headquarters of the church in Ketu. On the adult harvest, which was celebrated in the CCC Genesis Global on the 15th of December 2019, a car ran into a woman and a kid, but shortly after this happened, Maureen Badejo was alerted by her sponsors and she immediately ran to her Facebook page where she did 3 different live videos to mislead the public that Ogundipe was behind the incident. In these live videos, Badejo, as she is being paid to do, alleged that Ogundipe wanted to use the victims for her sacrifices. She further alleged that the prophet had abandoned the victims at last suit since the incident happened. However, our investigation revealed that there was truly an accident, but it did not happen at the premises of the CCC Genesis Global or even the 2 hectares of land which a bank just purchased for the church at Alakuko. Rather, the accident happened on the 2nd street to the venue of the said harvest, and both the victims and the killer driver are not members of the CCC Genesis Global. The Alakuko area police, as well as the accident victim's husband, Mr. Nuruddin Alawode, has exonerated the church shepherd, Prophet Israel Oladele Ogundipe, despite a malicious report which was planted inside the Punch newspaper on the 31st of December year 2019 that Ogundipe had abandoned the victim, Mrs. Ronke Popola Alawode, and her 2-year-old son, Master David Alawode, who later died at Lasut during treatment. During our investigation, Mr. Nuruddin Alawode, who is the father to the late David Alawode, with 2 members of the family, visited Prophet Ogundipe at the church premises on January 7, 2020, where he came to apologize for what he described as negative and false reports against the shepherd by the Punch newspaper. And according to Nuruddin Alawode, during his 25-minute meeting with Prophet Ogundipe, the report which Punch newspaper published against the man of God was fake and didn't even have the approval of the bereaved family. Alawode pressed further that he has nothing against the CCC Genesis Global since the police had confirmed that the accident didn't truly happen on the land which the church just purchased, as falsely claimed by Punch newspaper and some bloggers who are believed to have been paid to discredit Ogundipe. He added that facts had been made known by the police handling the case, that the accident happened to his wife and late son David on a street which is next to the 2 hectares of land belonging to the church. The deceased father condemned the media attacks against Prophet Ogundipe, saying that he shouldn't have been castigated in the first place, since the driver who drove the car that hit his wife and little son is not a member of the CCC Genesis Global and was not even going to the church that day. However, the newspaper learned that the car which hit the victims belongs to an old member of the CCC Genesis Global known as Mr. Shola. Reports also have it that the car was loaded with different kinds of hot drinks and brandy, which the driver confessed that he was taken to his friend's birthday party on that fateful day. Speaking further, during the meeting with Prophet Ogundipe, the deceased father begged for funds from the church to get a death certificate for his late son in order to retrieve his remains from the mortuary for burial. He also sought for forgiveness from the prophet over the damaging report which was published against him by the Punch newspaper last week, saying that he and his wife were not part of the publication. His words, "How could I or my wife, who cannot even talk till today, have asked the reporter to publish such fake story, even when it had been made clear to us by the police that the killer driver was not heading to the church on that day, and the accident happened at the next street to the land where the church was, as George purchased. We don't know about the false report, and we want you, referring to Ogundipe, to forgive us, support us financially, as well pray for the quick recovery of my wife, who has not been able to open her mouth to talk since the incident happened till today. The police had told us that the accident did not even concern this church. They also made us to know that the driver that drove the car, who is not a member of the Genesis Church, has been remanded by the court. It was also the police that explained to us that the owner of the car came and made an undertaking to foot the hospital bills, later ran away, and he hasn't been found till today. If anyone has abandoned us, it is the owner of the car and not the prophet, who is being accused wrongly in the newspaper for no reason. You won't believe that the police is asking me to bring money before they can issue a death certificate to us in order to get David's body from the mortuary. Another blackmail against Ogundipe by Badejo, as she is being hired for worse that the prophet's police escort fired a shot at the electric pole during a party organized by the wife of Oluomo of Isheri. The blackmailer, as she was told to do so, said that the gunshot caused an electrocution of some people who died at the scene. But our investigation showed that nothing like that happened on the fateful day. Findings showed that what happened was a mere fight between two rivalry youth groups in the area, and it had nothing with Ogundipe, as he had left the scene before it happened. Maureen Badejo also called on the public to ask why Ogundipe is using police escort since he is not a public office holder. But during our investigations, it was gathered that it was the police command in Lagos State that allocated police escorts to the prophet after two armed robbery incidents had happened in his house. A house owner in Alakuko who spoke with our reporters on the condition of anonymity confirmed the claim. He said that the prophet wasn't using police escort before, but he was advised to apply for them after armed robbers attacked his street and residence. The man said it was after a police escort was assigned to Ogundipe that armed robbers stopped coming to the entire Alakuko area. Our investigations also revealed that Ogundipe's adversaries wanted to use the incident that claimed someone's life at the 2019 harvest of a CCC parish in Oshodi in August to blackmail him just because he had attended the said harvest. Reports confirmed that neither Ogundipe nor his escorts were still at the Oshodi church when some cultists fired a gunshot which killed a passerby whom Maureen Badejo claimed was a member of the church. Nigerian Concord gathered that the police arrest, which Badejo claimed was affected against Ogundipe, was not true, as the prophet and his entourage had left the venue long before the incident happened. Well, this is another report of the controversial issues and news and reports, of course, surrounding the Genesis CCC prophet Dele Ogundipe. Well, I believe you guys have seen the rise and fall of this popular CCC pastor. Well, the latest news and reports, as per the Global Genesis founder Israel Oladele, was jailed owing to the fact that it was allegedly reported that he defrauded a woman of 17 million naira. A Lagos High Court on Wednesday sentenced popular Lagos prophet and shepherd in charge of Celestial Church of Christ Global Genesis Church, Prophet Israel Oladele Ogundipe, to 2-year imprisonment for defrauding a UK-based woman. Oladele was charged with 7-count charges bordering on fraud and obtaining money by pretenses. He was said to have defrauded one Mrs. Olaide William Oni to the tune of 17 million naira, which she gave to procure some landed properties on her behalf because she thought he was a good pastor. Mrs. Olaide Williams Oni said she first met the accused person in the year 2002 during a visit to Nigeria when she was taken to his church for prayers by her stepsister. He told me something about my husband in one of his prophecies, that I should not have anything gently with him because he was having an affair behind my back. He gave me a liquid to drink and I started vomiting. I was asked to sit down and he lighted the candle and said I should be there until the candle goes off. According to her, he allegedly took her to the company of her stepsister and cousin to a bush in Songwater area of Ogun State, where she was allegedly baited with some concussions near a river. She said her misfortune started when she returned to London. The prophet asked her to invest in landed properties in Lagos, which she agreed. This she did after consultations with some other persons. She allegedly sent 17 million naira in 5 tranches of 900,000 naira, 2.5 million naira, 8.5 million naira, 2.7 million naira, and 12,000 pounds between 2002 and 2005 to purchase the properties on her behalf, which turned out to be a fraud. Where at this moment, we all know the fate of the Global Genesis founder, Oladele, who has been jailed through these fraudulent activities of his by defrauding this UK based businesswoman of the sum of 17 million naira. Well, this is the rise and fall of Genesis prophet Oladele Ogundipe. I believe you guys have known enough about this young man. Well, to any new developments concerning the Genesis global founder Oladele Ogundipe, we get to bring to you more updates. If you have any suggestion, comments, or remarks concerning this, do well to drop your suggestion in the comment box below, and of course like the video, share to your social media platforms. Do well to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell to get notified whenever I drop new and other amazing content. Until next time, peace, 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 peace.